Muted. All right, so hopefully you got audio now. Let me go back a little bit. So the conversation is, how do we make sure that we are as operational and as functional in our business as we possibly can? So the answer to that is using tools and resources to gain back the one valuable tool and resource that we can never gain more of, and that is time. But we can find more access to that time by using things like shortcuts, by using things like tools and resources that are offered in programs that we use every day in order to be successful. So let's just go through a couple of these and kind of identify some of the things that I find a big value add in the process. So the first one is going to be so most of, as you know, I use Apple for most of the access of things that I do every single day. And I love a lot of the Apple products. Because of that, I will focus a little bit on those. So if you give me just a moment, let me bring up my screen here and show you the access to a program that I think is very powerful and can have a lot of benefit to you. So let me just share this real quick. All right, so we are using, in this case, a reminders app. So this is built onto your desktop. If you use a Macintosh, it is built onto your iPhone. It's built onto your iPad. It is also operating in a couple different formats. So let me show you real quick how that looks. So in here, I have the ability to remind myself on a day, remind myself at a time, also at a location, or when I'm messaging somebody. So if I'm messaging somebody specific, that allows me. Now, why is this resourceful? Because one, I have the ability to connect other apps into it. If you guys have not gone through some of my classes that I've done in the past using things like shortcuts to send out multiple messages individualized to multiple people, this is a great resource to function that connection with shortcuts. And that's what's happened here. So if I click this link, it opens up another program that allows me to access that program. At location, if I wanted to set it up for, if I hit to my office, I can put it right there. I can trim that down a little bit, or I can expand it and allow myself to be able, once I show up to this location, be able to be notified of said reminder. I also have the ability to do it on a day, on a time. I also can set it up when I'm messaging somebody. So if I wanted to set up a contact in here, I can select a contact that if I'm messaging that person, this reminder will pop up. And then I can just simply add in images, add in a URL, add in any notes or any other details to that. Now, let's just put this into a real life category, right? So this is not always just for real estate. Sometimes there's some additional. So I have here a gift card, right? So I have a gift card that I need to use at Sam's Club. So what I've done is I've put the email into my reminder, and I also set a reminding point at a certain location. So when I get to this location, it's going to trigger this reminder to say, hey, use this gift card. Guys, it's the simple tools and resources that we can find to remember stuff, because guess what? I'm horrible about gift cards and using them effectively. So what happens is I have a gift card, I have it in my car for the next year, and I forget to use it. This actually reminds me to go through and actually use it. So just a great tool and resource that you can connect with, so it can kind of separate you from the next step of forgetting something. Now, once again, this is email based. This is contact based. This is whatever you want it to make, but it's about creating the availability to remind you of things that you need to do. Because as you grow your business, the one tool and resource, this is why we've talked about things like CRMs. This is why we've talked about things like just database management, using things like Google Drive, using your email effectively to follow through on a lot of those details. Now, here is one of the new tools that I like that I found is very beneficial. So this is something that I'm not suggesting you all go out and buy. Please bear with me and understand that. But I do feel that this is a great resource. So I have recently picked up what is called a Remarkable. Now, what this does is it allows me to do handwriting notes. So my problem is I take tons of notes, but what I tend to have issues with is when I take tons of notes, I forget to actually put those notes in one central location. So what I've done is I bought this little device. It's called a Remarkable. In this case, it's a Remarkable 2. And basically, it's a white page tablet. Okay. And if you give me a moment, I will show it to you on screen. Basically, what this allows you to do is be able to connect and take notes in a nice, clean format. Now, is this cost money? Can you just do this with a notebook? Of course, you can do all those things, guys. That's not the point. The point here is that I find resources that help me save time and energy. This has been one of those things that helps me save time and energy, because it allows me to be able to have quick access to something that I need all the time, which is my notes from previous points. Remember, as a CEO or as a boss, you can't call yourself a CEO if you're a realtor in the state of Texas, but as a boss, you need to sometimes be thinking 10 and 12 weeks forward to what's going to happen. Well, a lot of that comes down to notes and resources that you may have received from other people. So take a place that you have one central location to take all those notes, to take all that detail, and then you have a place that you can go back to and reference multiple times. Now, the beautiful thing about Remarkable is I have horrible handwriting. So with having horrible handwriting, that means that I want to be able to connect with the availability to be able to translate, or what is OCR. So they'll read my handwriting and convert that into actual text. So once again, adding a little bit of value to me every time that I want it in this process. So what does that all come down to, guys? Is knowing that a few things, if we can use them effectively and use them at the right time, we can be successful with them. Guys, I've shown you use of things like Spark. So I'm going to bring back my screen up here and discuss the fact of using Spark. So basically, this comes down to, if you use Spark in your daily life on your email, Spark makes a really cool connection into the reminders function. So I have an email here. Now, in my team, if you have a team, this is a great resource to be able to connect with your team. So if I need to add any members of my team, I can do so here, and I can actually chat at the bottom. So if I added in Brenda here, today. So I add in Brenda, and now I can invite her to this transaction, and I can actually comment on this email with Brenda alone, and you can see who's accessed. Now, if you're not working in the team, this is probably not going to be a lot very functional for you, but this is a great resource if you are on a team to have just that little layer of extra. Now, what did I mention about the reminders? So up here at the top, there is a pinning function, which Gmail has. There's a snooze function that Gmail has, archive, all the normal stuff. But then what it has is a little reminder function here. Now, reminders have been dramatically beneficial for me. As I showed you a moment ago, it's something I use regularly. But if I click on reminders here, it actually takes the entire email, turns it into a link, like I was showing you a moment ago, and allows me to be able to type in whatever information I hear, and I can put it on any list that I want to. And then I just press save, and now I have a reminder to come back to this email. It will open up and it will give me that functionality to do so. So it allows me to simply connect with the things that I need when I need them. And that just simply adds a tremendous amount of layer of connection. Allows me to be able to function in a way that I think is most successful in how I proceed forward. So the last thing I want to leave you with, because I did tell you about it, is the Remarkable, and I'm going to just put this up on the screen. Now, there are other versions of this. This is the one that I decided to go with, and it is a great resource. It has a white paper writing that allows you to simply take a pen like this and allows you to write just like you would on a piece of paper. Now, the question is, why would you pay for this? Why would you do this? Well, guys, remember, once again, I had tons of notebooks, but I have notebooks everywhere. I have notebooks that are in my car. I have notebooks that are here and there. I have notebooks all over the place. I actually had gone to a handwritten one, but then I had to scan it. This allows me to handwrite, and it's already pre-uploaded, pre-scanned. I have talked to a lot of people about the use of this, and they have really enjoyed it. I personally think that it's a great resource if you are a note taker, excuse me. If you're not a note taker, that's okay too. This just might be a resource for you to be able to annotate documents. So that gives you a functionality to annotate any PDFs. They have a connection with both your iPad, with your iPhone, and with your computer, so you can put it in multiple locations. And even cooler than that, so let me show you one thing that I found is a really big value add. I love to read articles, but sometimes I don't necessarily have time to get into said article. So what it now allows me to do is, let's say that I'm here and I want to go to Inman and read an article. Okay, I can grab this article. Okay, so Zillow hits its brakes on buying new homes for the remainder of 2021, and I want to add that article to my remarkable. I just simply click on this little button. It converts that to text. And then what it does is it throws it on here. And if you'll notice, it's automatically there. And this is also on my device. But I can click on this and I can open it and read it in a quick format. Once again, it does it in a white paper format, which to me is probably the biggest value add because it's not rough on the eyes. So I can read this whenever I'm, laying in bed and I don't feel like I'm going to have a long night of, it's white papered. Okay. So sorry, it's a little blurry. I have my portrait mode on, but I find this is a very big value add. And once again, time is the one thing that we can't gain back unless we find the ability to use it more effectively. So, guys, long-winded, I know, and I hope that I translated what I was trying to get across to you, and that is simply that we have a ton of opportunity to save ourselves time, to save ourselves energy, if and only if we find those values. So hopefully that was beneficial, guys. When I run these live, it does run a little bit more conducive to a not productive environment. But I will make sure that I get you some follow-up content into the comments below, both a link to the Remarkable and some links to those other trainings that I've done on reminders and so on and so forth by using your phone. And then one of my favorite things is use of Spark for my email. So great tools, great resources, guys, and just one of those things that I think if we use our things that we have accessible to. Technology is great. And I heard somebody say this once that was really powerful. The gentleman's name was Greg Harrelson. If you have not watched his podcast, it's amazing. It is called the Level Up podcast by Greg Harrelson. And what he basically said is in the 30 years he's been in real estate, nothing's really changed. The only difference is that 30 years ago, he used to have to hire 4 people to dial 4 lines to hand him the line whenever they picked up. Today, he just hires a company that has 4 line dialer, and then it just puts it over to him the same. Cost is pretty much the same. Resource is pretty much the same. Conversations pretty much the same. Everything's the same with the exception of one thing. Technology has allowed us to gain more resource and time. So something to kind of keep in mind and hopefully put into action. Guys, have a great day. Enjoy and see you later.